Hey guys, this is the 80s Revolution back for another video, and it seems like it's been forever since I have made a video. I think it's been about 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks since I've posted anything up on here. Sorry about that. You know, I'm lazy and busy. If those two things can go together and make sense, I'm lazy and busy. But it is after Christmas, and I've got a whole bunch of stuff to show you. I was able to get a bunch of stuff for Christmas. It was definitely an 80s Christmas. Got some thrift store pickups for you as well. And later on, maybe I'll post tomorrow, we'll continue the LJN wrestling collection that I'm getting some decent feedback on. So first of all, I want to hope that everybody had a Merry Christmas and upcoming, Happy New Year. Hope you guys got all of your 80s toys that you wanted for Christmas, and I know I certainly did. So I am going to be showing you some of the goodness that I've got. Again, like I said, it's been about 3 weeks, it's been about 4 weeks. Hair's a little longer, beard's a little longer, and the collection is a little bigger. So let's jump right into it, and I will show you what I got. So first, we'll do some thrift store pickups. I will save one of my greatest thrift store pickups for a few minutes. All right, thrift stores. Looks like two things from a thrift store. First, real simple, a book, Nintendo Game Secrets. This is a book that was published in definitely the 90s, early 90s, I believe. Sorry, I should probably have this information ready to give you. But this book was published in 1990, and it is a strategy book, a unlicensed Secrets of the Games book. I grabbed this at Goodwill for $1.99. I love it. I think it's a great little addition to the Nintendo collection, and there seems to be some pretty good it seems to be a pretty decent strategy guide for Nintendo games. Zelda, DuckTales, Dragon Warrior, so on, and Super Mario 3, Swords and Serpents, Total Recall. So really cool little pickup, nice thing to add to the Nintendo collection. Nintendo Game Secrets from Goodwill, $1.99. And the very super exciting Savers pickup. So Savers has been probably one of my favorite thrift stores. They seem to have, every once in a while, more often than Goodwill, they have a pretty decent retro toy or board game. So I was in a Savers about a month ago, and they have a, if you're familiar with Savers, they have a game section. It's separate from the toy section, but they have like a board game and puzzles and things like that section. So I usually walk in, and right by the DVDs is the game section. So I was looking through the DVDs, and I happened to glance over at the game section, and I saw this massive box sitting on the top shelf, taking up all kinds of space. If you remember, in the late 80s, there was this kind of phase where people were producing these huge board games, just really gigantic floor model or floor size board games. In fact, they're called Floor Wars series. We're talking about Fireball Island that I showed you. We're talking about games like Crossfire that you would really kind of play on the floor. They were huge. Well, there was a game, part of that series, and it's on eBay. It's about a $40 game, but it's very expensive to ship. It's like a $25 shipping fee. I don't even know how you would ship this. I don't know what kind of box you would put this in. I would think that some people would just put wrapping paper over it and ship it, and that would damage the box. But at Savers, for the low price of $5.99, I freaked out when I saw Torpedo Run. Okay, you can see how massive this is. Okay, so Torpedo Run was a game that came out in about 86, from Milton Bradley, of course. And this is just an amazingly huge floor play board game. The board game itself, the board itself, you can see the three kids just kind of, huddled around this game board. So basically you would set up your submarines, and you would, each submarine would have the ability to fire these little discs. And if the discs slid correctly under the submarine, it would trigger a mechanism that basically blew the top off the submarine. And therefore, kind of like Battleship, kind of like a floor version of Battleship. But when I saw Torpedo Run sitting at a Savers, I was very, very excited. This definitely is one of my greatest all-time thrift store finds. Finding Fireball Island for $1 at a garage sale, right? A $250 board game. Finding it 95% completed, a board game for $1, was definitely my greatest find of all time. But Torpedo Run at Savers for $5.99 is a huge, huge retro pickup for me. That I'm very, very excited about. All right, so on to Christmas. One of my gifts was a nice 6-pack of craft, different craft packs or craft beers. A couple of the local grocery stores around town here have the, pick your own 6-pack, where they just kind of put out a bunch of single bottles and you throw them in a 6-pack for an inflated price. But my in-laws got me a couple of 6-packs. This is a blood orange beer from Founders, I believe, and it's really citrusy. It's blood orange, but it's almost grapefruit smell. Yeah, really, really grapefruity. When we're talking about like orange, not orange flavored, but hints of citrus, you think about Blue Moon, and one other. But this is more IPA. I think they're overloading the blood orange. It's starting to shift into a grapefruit flavor, which of course reminds me of an IPA. But this is really good. Yeah, really, really grapefruity, actually. Might want to change the blood orange title. Okay, Christmas. Had a good 80s Christmas. Really, really excited. So I really haven't gone through my NES collection with you. I do have 399 games in the NES collection, and it's not really something that I've highlighted with you. I will at some point, but I was kind of stuck on 399 for a while, actually several months, because my interests shifted, as they always do, into Blu-rays. So I was spending a lot of time picking up Blu-rays. So I kind of left the Nintendo games on the back burner a little bit. But every year for Christmas, I get 3 or 4 Nintendo games, and this year was no exception. So I did get my 400th Nintendo game. And in addition to my 401st, 402nd, and 403rd Nintendo game. But I will officially say that my 400th video game, my 400th Nintendo NES video game was RBI 2 from Tengen. This completes my RBI baseball collection, which is actually kind of a first of its kind innovative baseball game that was licensed by MLB. So back in 86, 87, you had real players. Didn't look like the player, obviously. They all kind of looked the same, just kind of like Nintendo did. But real players, real players on your Nintendo baseball game team. So RBI 2 I grabbed for Christmas. Game called Roller Games. These are 3 or 4 very common games. I am still able to pick up a lot of commons, which is good. I should probably get to 500 games without spending much money at all, actually. I still have some commons to go. So Roller Games, again, a $4 or $5 game. Rygar, which is an extremely common NES game. This is a $5 game at most. Most used game stores, if they have good pricing, will price this at like $2.99. But Rygar, glad to add to the collection. and a game representing a show that I definitely watched. I think this is kind of a very late 80s, early 90s game show that was on Fox, hosted by J.D. Roth. Funhouse. All right. I'm probably not going to play many or most of the 403 NES games that I have, but as you know, with collecting, if you're going for a complete collection, you're going to get stuff like Funhouse, you're going to get stuff like roller games, and you're just going to put them on the shelf and probably never pop them in the system. But I am very happy to have now 403 NES games. And maybe soon I'll be shifting my interests back to the NES, and so I can start collecting and showing you some pickups. There are some really good local used game stores in town that I'd like to pick some things up and show you. So we'll probably get back into that pretty soon. Grapefruity. All right, more Christmas stuff. So I told you that I showed you in the last video the toy show pickups that I got the Chuck Norris Karate Commandos Corvette in a, I was calling it case fresh in that video. It wasn't case fresh. I got all jumbled in my head. I didn't mean case fresh. I meant warehouse find, old warehouse stock. So basically that means that somebody had a case of these. And whether they mean warehouse literally, whether they mean old toy store stock or just old collectible store stock, but basically this guy had about 10 of the Chuck Norris Karate Commandos, and he says that they were a warehouse find, not case fresh. The box was not mint by any means, but it is in good shape. But anyway, I showed you that I had that Corvette. And I told you that was going to kick off my Chuck Norris Karate Commandos action figures, which is a very easy line to collect. Sorry, while I drop out of frame. It's not a difficult line to collect. It's a very inexpensive line. All of these figures are going to run me probably $10 or less if I can get them on a good buy it now or a good auction on eBay. You put these guys on auction, there's a good chance I get them for $4.99, whatever the opening bid is. They are not a super popular toy line. So the first thing that I did get, I think I'm missing a weapon. Hang on a second. So the first figure I got was Black Ninja that I showed you, I think, but my 4-year-old has confiscated that, and I've just decided to not fight him on getting it back. So he has added a complete Black Ninja to his collection. I am now without one, but he doesn't know about these. He hasn't been down here in a little bit. But so the first Chuck Norris Karate Commandos figure that I got is Super Ninja. I have no idea who these characters are. I have not watched the cartoon yet. But I guess Super Ninja is kind of one of the main bad guys. He's got a couple of interesting weapons. He's got the, obligatory sword that all action figures have. But he also has this interesting kind of lethal sort of knee spike thing. If he's doing kicks or knee lifts, he's probably going to gut you with this thing. So that's pretty cool. These are actually really good looking figures. Probably 4.5, 5-inch figures. Good paint jobs. Really good articulation for the time. I mean, the knee joints are pretty loose, so the guys can throw some nice kicks, but stiff enough. I've explained I'm obviously a child of the 80s, and articulation kind of was a foreign concept to us. So I don't like the figures to be completely movable. I don't like that. So this is kind of stiff enough, but still has some, decent articulation when you need it. So this is Super Ninja in the Chuck Norris toy line. The other figure that I got was a character, I think, I'm probably getting the names wrong because I haven't fallen in love with this line yet, but this is, I believe, Reed Smith, who's a good guy and part of Chuck Norris's team. And he comes with a pretty interesting weapon that comes apart. It's kind of this massive sort of staff with some, stabby things on the end. Again, decent good articulation, really good looking figure, good colorful figure, nice paint jobs, and the weapons are kind of you know, innovative. They're some interesting, not your run of the mill weapons. So I'm glad to be adding Reed Smith, I think, to the collection. So they'll go proudly on the Chuck Norris shelf, which should be completed realistically in a few months if I stick to it and just keep grabbing figures off eBay. Pickups for Christmas. Christmas gifts given to me from the loving members of my family who keep the childhood Christmas alive. I don't get sweaters. I get beer. I don't get 40-year-old guy stuff for Christmas. I get 8-year-old kid stuff for Christmas, and keeps Christmas alive for me. So a couple of things I got. So I got a lot of board games and Colorform type stuff for this Christmas. This is kind of a random item that I didn't know I wanted, but obviously I do. Back in the mid 80s, 85, 86, there was this stuffed animal called a Popple, and Popples were basically in ball form, and you could sort of unfold the ball, and an animal, a teddy bear, or the ball would turn into a teddy bear with arms and legs, and then you could fold it back up into a ball. They had their own cartoon, which was a good, fun cartoon in the 80s, and apparently they had their own board game. Little miniature board game, probably marketed towards younger children. Obviously, there's some 5 or 6-year-olds on the cover, but probably a pretty easy matching game for kids or something like that. But I have now the Popples board game proudly added to my collection. I do have a Popple that I think I showed you, but on the back I just laughed. I hadn't noticed that this belonged to Jessica. You can't see it, but Jessica and Justin Doherty. And it was at one time for sale for 25 cents. I don't think I got it for 25 cents, but Popples game added to the collection. Along the lines of the TV show board game, that is kind of a subcategory of mine. I like collecting board games that represent a TV show or a game show or a cartoon of the 80s. And I just completed this TV series on DVD, which is actually really entertaining, held up really well, even though you wouldn't think it would. I laughed a lot at this TV show. Maybe I'll do a review on it, but I was able to grab for Christmas the Elf board game. It says, what is going on? Elf is trying to find his old buddy Lucky the cat and take him out for lunch, but Mrs. Achmonic, the noisy neighbor, is prowling through the house. The first player to help Elf avoid Miss Achmonic and find Lucky wins. So kind of just your basic roll the dice and move around the board type game, but very happy to have this. I think this is a very cool piece to add to my collection. I've definitely become resurrected a newfound interest in Elf after watching all 4 seasons of the TV show and enjoying it. Absolutely holds up today. Many laugh out loud moments in Elf. So I've got the game. Kind of an unknown. It's made by Coleco Games, which I don't think is associated with Coleco, the electronics game company. So this was probably a lesser known game. Probably not as popular, but I now have it, and it is proudly a part of my collection. All right, I've showed you in other videos that I love Colorforms. All right, and there are 2 kinds of Colorforms that I have in my collection. One is sort of your basic Colorform set. Came in a rectangle package, smaller game board and pieces. Then they came out with deluxe play sets, deluxe Colorforms. And I have a real Ghostbusters version of the deluxe. And this was just a bigger box, a bigger set, a bigger, game board, more pieces, things like that. So I was able to get for Christmas from Santa the Masters of the Universe, of course, He-Man Deluxe Colorforms play set. Very happy to add this to the collection. If you're not familiar with Colorforms, I'll give you a quick lesson. So you would have I'm calling a game board. This isn't a game, but it's kind of like a scene on a sort of a sticky surface, and you would have He-Man Colorforms, which are just sort of not a sticker, but kind of a rubber stickable material, and you could put them, not now, but you could put them on the board and they would stick in place, and you could set up little scenes and adventures with your He-Man characters. Play value, I don't know, maybe. I remember having these as a kid, Colorforms. I don't know how much how many hours were spent playing with Colorforms. There's, they're kind of limited in what you can do with them, but obviously as an adult fan of 80s toys, this is a beautiful item to add to my collection and will sit on the shelf proudly. With this, I am told, came a free gift, which I'm glad to have. It's a He-Man Golden Book video. I believe these are, let's see. So I'm guessing that Golden Book, obviously the popular kids book company, would make He-Man books, and I assume that there's 4 videos on here, but it's only 26 minutes long, so they're not actual episodes of the TV show. I assume these are specially produced cartoon shorts that are based on the Golden Book story. So it says art and characters from best loved books come alive through songs, voices, and animation. So that's probably exactly what it is. This came free with the Masters of the Universe Deluxe playset, kind of like a free gift thrown in. I am thrilled to have it. Again, awesome thing to add to the collection. I love, just kind of rare, or not rare, but, special little VHS stuff. This will sit again proudly on the shelf. So, 2 things real quick. I haven't really showed you much of them yet, but I also enjoy, remember back in the 80s there, they had TV trays, and they were, officially licensed TV trays that had whatever popular character of the day was, in everybody's, was keeping everybody's interest. So I have cartoon TV trays from Ghostbusters, from Pac-Man, from Elf, from G.I. Joe, and now I also proudly have one from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Again, these were a staple of my childhood. I would get, one a year or throughout the year, and basically they're TV trays. Okay, so you would, if you're sitting in bed, sick home from school, watching cartoons, your mom brings you your peanut butter sandwich and your chicken soup on your TV tray. And back then, certainly not now, I could fit underneath it and enjoy my sick cartoons or my Saturday morning cartoons with my bowl of cereal on my TV tray. I love these things. They really capture a generation for me. They have them still. My kid actually got one. He got a Turtles one. He got a newer Turtles one. I got the retro Turtles one. So they're still making these things. But I really love these things. Again, a real capture of past generation. A lot of fun, a lot of memories with these things. Saturday morning memories, putting your cereal on a TV tray, watching cartoons, about the greatest thing in the world. Now, finally, this is kind of a special Christmas present. I am a huge fan of the TV show Dallas. It's one of my top 3 all-time favorite TV shows. I love that show. So I've been collecting some Dallas memorabilia, and my wife was able to find me. The story is apparently, and I don't know how true the story is, but this person on eBay was selling off their father's collection because he has dementia. And the father apparently had like a summer house next to Larry Hagman, who was J.R. Ewing in Dallas. And they became friends. And I guess Larry Hagman gave this guy geez, I don't even know how to describe this. I guess this was produced by Lorimar Productions, which was the company that made Dallas. I guess this was produced as kind of a gift to Larry Hagman, maybe, and then Larry Hagman gave this, apparently, allegedly, to this person's father, and now this person's son is selling it on eBay. Anyway, what is it? It is a belt buckle. It is a South Fork Ranch, Dallas, Texas, USA belt buckle. And it's inscribed on the back, and it says, to my good buddy, signed Larry Hagman. But it's etched in. And so, again, I don't know what the real backstory is on this. If this is a real story, then I've got Larry Hagman's belt buckle. I've got J.R. Ewing's belt buckle that he gave to his neighbor. His neighbor now has dementia, and his son is selling his collection. So I have it now, and it will forever be proudly displayed in my nerd cave. So I'm really excited to have this. Take a look. You can't see it, but there's an inscription on the back. So it was indeed a Merry Christmas for me. My kid got the giant 3-foot Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle sewer layer playset that I just put together. I think we might do a video showing the features of that, but all in all, it was a great Christmas. I was able to add some stuff to the collection. Again, sorry for disappearing for so long, for 3 or 4 weeks. Hopefully, I don't think I lost any subscribers, so thanks for sticking with me. I'm going to jump back into this. We're going to do some more LJN wrestling figure collection reviews, and hopefully I'll get back to making regular videos for you. Again, thank you all for sticking with me and not dropping out in my absence. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you guys got some pretty interesting stuff. Let me know what you got in the comments below. Check me out in a couple of days. Take care.